Hi, Tim Russell, Director of Aura Holdings.
Mark Taylor, Director of Aura Holdings.
Hello, my name's Sean Graham. I'm the CEO of Aura Holdings.
Hi, my name's Nash Dingle, the Project Director for McNab.
I'm Frank Ehrenberg. I'm a Principal and Regional Director of Marchese Partners.
My name is Paul Chang, Associate Director of Marchese Partners Brisbane office.
All of these type of club development, 2 to 3 years typically just to get to the starting line. You're bringing on board the community, the club generally. Obviously, in the case of a golf club, they're interested in golf primarily, as well as their financial future. Many meetings with council, many meetings with community members, club members, board members, and Aura's been present throughout that whole process.
But I think understanding the needs of the golf club are particularly important because we're a tenant on their land for over 100 years. So we have to be respectful of the club. We have to be respectful of the game of golf, and that's critical in getting one of these projects over the line, because if we don't put ourselves in their shoes and understand what's important to them, the deal will never happen. And in the case of McLeod, there are a few areas on the course that lent themselves to be developed, but it was really important to understand what worked in with the new club design. We ended up occupying the 14th hole. So we've really taken the first half of the 14th hole, which then enabled the club to retain a shorter hole on the balance of the space. The great thing about that space, it has its own access, so we're not actually having to come through the club proper. So the village has its own address, but it's not competing directly with the club. The other thing we like about it, it's on a flat piece of land, so it makes development a little bit easier. And it's a high point of the golf course, which means you've got really views wherever the apartment sits and whatever aspect it occupies.
The leasehold area is just over 1.6 hectares. The site cover will be slightly over 50%, with 16 townhouses and 110 apartments over the handful of buildings that are here. So look, it won't be a dense development. It's like the other Aura ones. It sort of suits its site and fit for the site.
We're also doing it in 2 stages, so it's not 126 built form immediately. The first stage is 66, consisting of 7 townhouses and 59 apartments. And the goal then is to start the second stage and have some overlap between the two, because we want to get in there and finish the development as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Stakeholder engagement's key with multiple parties. You're not just buying a freehold site and taking something to council. Yeah, there's the club's 50-something years old. It's got its own traditions, heritage. It's got its own rules with its board. They've got a framework there. So we're always sympathetic to their needs. What we're trying to do with the retirement village, within their framework, within their club, least disruption to golf, etc.
But you also have to have a board that's totally committed to getting the project up and running, because quite often they're full of volunteer members, so you're asking a lot of volunteer members. They've got to commit a lot of time and a lot of effort, and unless they're absolutely committed to achieving something, it can take a long time. You can sometimes not get there. I think in the case of McLeod, we were really lucky in that there were sort of 2 or 3 champions of the project on the board, and they were really committed to achieving something with us. But through their enthusiasm, they were then able to really get buy-in from the other members of the board, and then finally members of the broader golf club.
John Blair was critical to the success of where we are today. He first talked to Tim and I in more recent years about 2022. He was introduced through Indooroopilly Golf Club, given the success of the development at Somerset, and so he started a journey with Don. And then first real meeting we had with the club was Di Lally and Anthony Burke, who's the general manager, and Don Blair.
Mount Ommaney and the Centenary suburbs have an incredible community feel. The suburb itself is one of the longest held in the country, so that the people have lived in their houses here longer than in many other suburbs in the rest of the country. So we knew there would be a lot of people who wanted to stay in their current area, close to their current services, and stay within their community, which is why we thought this was a great opportunity. And then the opportunity to partner with a club which has such a strong sense of community meant that if we could bring those two things together and put a development similar to some of our other villages, we knew we'd have the perfect combination to deliver an incredible opportunity for a retirement village. We love McNab. They worked on 3 of our villages. This is going to be their 4th. They think like us. They're a long-term relationship player. They want to work with people they have similar qualities to. They deliver brilliant products, and they can work through a solution. We're always going to have issues and things that need to be sorted out, and we can sit down with them and find a way. We had to on this project from the start. It was uneconomic to start off with, and we sat down and said, this is what we're trying to deliver, let's work together to do it. And they were able to work with us to find an approach that meant we could deliver what we are planning on delivering.
Basically, it continues a long-standing relationship with Aura, so it means a lot to McNab because we do put a lot of focus on those customer relationships. So it's a testament to that. For me as a project director, this is a great opportunity to do a project on a golf course. I haven't dealt with a project like this before. The surroundings here are magic. It's beautiful here, so I won't have any issue getting our team to come in and work hard out here. I would say it is sort of fairly standard construction techniques on this job. So yeah, it's more your block work, masonry, structure, and then there's some architectural finishes that are going to be pretty impressive on the facade, and screening and metalwork stuff that really makes it pop. It's working in with the course, so we put a lot of effort into getting the relationship to a point where we can help each other from a club and the members here. For me, it's a great opportunity to work in such a beautiful setting out here.
I think for this project in particular, the surroundings and the golf course had a lot of inspiration for us. Without that here, we would have been a completely different building. Also the neighbourhood, Tekabo Street, that's just behind us. A lot of that drove how the buildings were sized, scaled and proportioned. But mainly it's got to be the views. Looking down the golf course and the vistas around us was a huge draw card.
I think it's a project that is kind of designed to build a community of bringing the club together, bringing the people of the community together, and gathering in the communal facilities, using the golf course. And obviously, as Paul said before, the building kind of hugs the golf course. It opens up to the views. All of that is, we think it's a great ingredient for a successful project.
Yeah. And also I think the scale of the buildings that we've got, make a huge difference. It's not empowering or overcoming anything else on the site. So we're very respectful for that. And I think people will understand that too. I know golfers, I play golf, and I think what we're trying to do here is not just enhance the people that will be living on the site, but also the golfers and the club members that will have to ultimately play around this village once it's all done. So I think we've done a great job there too.
If you look at the centenary suburbs, they really sort of started kicking off in the 60s through the 70s and into the 80s. So it's a newer area in the context of wider Brisbane. By chance, Mt Ommaney has the highest tenure of anybody in the Brisbane LGA, which is an average of 18 years. So if someone moved in last week, someone else has been here for 36 years. It's typically 70s and 80s, brick and tile, single level. Some of the houses you see here are examples of that, or some of that two-storey product or part two-storey product. The townhouses reflect the fact that we're at similar height to the neighbours across the road, and then the buildings at the back go 4 to 5 levels as they go down the hill. So if I was a neighbour living in Tekabo Street and I'm on my driveway looking across, by the time I look over the townhouses, I don't see much built form. So the density won't be apparent to the street, and obviously at the back to the golf course, it's going to be hidden in behind quite a lot of landscaping.
A village here means that people can stay close to their family and their friends. If their kids are here and they wanted to move to age-appropriate accommodation, they'd previously have to move out of catchment area. But if they want to stay close, they can move in here now, and they'll be with like-minded people and have an opportunity to get services and age in place in a way that means that they can stay here for the next 10, 20, 30 years. I think if you have a look around, if this is your setting, there are many retirement villages that can offer this. You've got the golf club itself just up there, so people will be able to walk up and join an incredible community. It also means that people can stay close by. There aren't a lot of options for age-appropriate accommodation around here, but if people want to stay close to their family, this gives them the opportunity to do so.